Welcome back to day 6 of the Marvel movie marathon, and today it's hammer time with Thor. Thor is the story of a god who's next in line to take up the throne as king of Asgard. But before that happens, his brother Loki sabotages the ceremony by bringing frost giants into the realm. But later on, Thor retaliates by attacking the frost giants where they live, and for that, his son Odin exiles him to Earth so he can learn to become humble and worthy of the hammer and power of Thor. Now, before this movie came out, I didn't know that much about Thor. All I knew is that he was a god, he was super strong, and he had a hammer. That's basically it. But I was looking forward to his movie because I knew he was a member of the Avengers. This movie starts off like a science fiction fantasy movie that you can find on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it's pretty dope. I like the costume designs, the production design of the costumes the characters wear, and Asgard, the world just looks really cool, and it looks like something I've never seen before. And I wish we would have seen more of that, but unfortunately, the story takes Thor to this random town in New Mexico, and that's where it turns into a sitcom. You got his love interest Jane Foster hitting him with the car, and then you have her assistant tasing him, and all these hijinks that happen when you're just sitting there waiting for Thor, pick up his hammer and smash things, like a badass. But this is a fish out of water story. He's learning to become humble because at the beginning of the movie, he's an arrogant prick. He just wants to go to war and kick some ass, which you need more in order to become a king. It's not all about kicking ass. You gotta do what's the best for your people. And that brings me to a problem with this movie. We really don't see the Asgardians as much as I want to. I want to know what living on Asgard is like, and for most of the time it just looks really empty, like no one lives there. And when you're introducing this far out character, it's important to establish his world and how it's different from ours, but unfortunately we didn't really get that. He spends the majority of this movie on Earth, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. comes in with Agent Coulson leading the charge, and they quarantine his hammer. But it also brings us to this movie's biggest sin. Let me get it out the way. It introduces us to this soldier. You think he's a regular guy, but he takes a bow and arrow, and he takes like a crane up high, and you see him draw it back. And for those comic fans out there, we all know this is Hawkeye. Now the problem with this scene is you give Hawkeye a bow and arrow, you don't let him use it. What kind of crap is that? Like, I understand they probably wanted to give us a sneak peek of him before the Avengers happened, but this is a really bad way to do it. He should have been the one to fight Thor right before he got to his hammer and tried to lift it. You should have let him demonstrate his ability with a bow and arrow. This guy is a great marksman. In Iron Man 2, at least they introduced Black Widow, right? You got to see her skill set. But in this movie, you just think he's a normal dude. You don't think there's anything special about him, so you're wondering, why are they drawing so much attention to this guy if he's not doing anything? That's the biggest sin of this movie. But the rest of it's pretty solid. Natalie Portman as Jane Foster is really cute. You can buy the little crush she has on Thor, and it's adorable. Eric Selvig is introduced as well. He's a pretty good character looking out for Jane Foster. She doesn't want her to get into any trouble. But you have the assistant, Darcy, which I could do with or without. She didn't do anything for me personally. I really wanted to see more of the Warriors 3 and Lady Sif. I think if this movie came out today, Marvel would basically have most of the movie take place on Asgard or throughout the 9 realms. You keep hearing about these 9 realms, but unfortunately you don't get to see it. I think they were afraid that Thor as a concept was too out there for general audiences, so they wanted to focus on developing his character, which I understand, but I would have loved to see more of the fantastical elements of this character. I should just do it like this. We got Loki, who is the most sympathetic villain we've met so far in this universe. He was taken as a child from the Frost Giants planet and adopted. So he was basically lied to his entire life, and he was supposed to bring those two groups, the Asgardians and Frost Giants, together in an alliance. But unfortunately, he feels like he was used as a pawn, as another antique for Odin's treasure room. And it's a really understandable motivation for why he acts the way he does. He just wants his moment to shine. He wants to be seen as Thor's equal. That's all he wants. He doesn't want to kill him. But in the end, he sees that's the only way he can take the spotlight if his brother is out of the picture. Overall, I like Thor as a character. He has a awesome weapon, Mjolnir, which allows him to fly, and he can swing it really fast, and he uses it to conduct his lightning, which doesn't really use that much in this movie, but I guess they're saving it for later. At the end of the movie, you see Loki mind-controlling Dr. Selvig, and he's staring at the Tesseract, which Nick Fury has kept on Earth all these years, just like Captain Marvel wanted him to. But what does Loki want with the Tesseract? And what is he willing to do to get it? Well, we're going to find out next time on this Marvel movie marathon, where it's time to assemble the Avengers. Thank you for watching.